What questions should partners ask each other before getting married? Desire for children, financial literacy and responsibility, parenting style, life goals, spending as much time playing video games as possible, travel, partying, being hermits, whatever. If you know those things, neither of you are abusive, and you can tolerate each other's level of household cleanliness, you are off to a decent start. You can tolerate each other's level of household cleanliness. This is huge. My boyfriend tends to be messier than I am, but I have the closet, he has the dresser, and we have double sinks in the master bath. Both those things have saved countless arguments, but our system works perfect for us. If I got a great job offer in another city and a distance here, state, province, country, etc., would we move there? If you got a great job in another city, would we move there? Why or why not? Not so much a question you can ask, but one you'd benefit from having answered through experience. How does your partner deal with you at your lowest? My wife and I have both had serious instances of low moods in the past, based around anxiety, self-esteem, work-related stress, etc. We had already told each other we wanted to spend our lives together long before I proposed, but it was experiencing how each of us was fully there for the other during those hard times and how we build each other up and support each other wholeheartedly that really cemented how right we are for each other. Ditto. If you can handle tough times together, you have the experience to know that you can continue to support each other throughout marriage. That's one reason why it's important to date for a while before marriage. How are we going to divide holidays between our families, and which holidays will we spend as a couple? Finances. I'm not saying it is a complete deal breaker, but if someone is constantly behind on bills and debt and the other person tracks their checking account down to the last penny, they may have issues throughout the marriage or may decide that one person is responsible for handling financial aspects of the marriage. My in-laws were like this. My mother-in-law took care of all the finances, cooked and cleaned. After she passed away, my father-in-law won't take care of his own finances. My wife manages them for him, doesn't cook for himself. He'll eat out 2 or 3 times a day, and my wife has to practically yell at him to clean the house, take out the trash when we stop over. What are your fighting rules? How can I show you respect even when we disagree? What is never okay to say or do when we disagree? Do you need time space after a fight, or do you need comfort? The first couple years of dating could be bliss with little to no fighting. However, marriage is for the long haul and you will fight and go through crap together. It's important to set ground rules for it and adjust if needed. My parents always had the rules of no name calling, and don't bring up divorce if you don't really mean it. I've incorporated those to my own relationship. Whether or not you really want children, people hold that against their so and even children all the time. Have a friend who recently got engaged to someone who really wants children, and he never, ever wants kids. She thinks he'll change his mind, and he says she'll change hers. She is just young and hasn't thought it through. It's going to be a disaster. Not a question, but pay close attention to how the other person acts when they don't get their way or are upset. Also, do they rely on you for their happiness or excitement, or are they mostly independent? A little reliance is healthy. Too much obviously becomes a burden. Second that, if they can't bear for you to be in the next room doing your hobbies or work and insist you be next to them doing nothing so they're not lonely, that's a serious problem on many levels. My husband was shocked and dismayed that after knowing each other for years, he only discovered in the grocery store last week that I hate carrots. I mean, I just thought he knew. So, you know, if something is really important, like a love of carrots, and you will need to change all the dinner plans forever so that one of you can continue to eat cooked carrots without the other person having to taste their soggy tree flavor, make sure to have a nice sit down in a relaxing, non-judgmental environment, and talk that stuff over before the wedding. More carrots for him. Score. What temperature do you like the air around you to be? Simple solution. One of you either puts on more clothes or the other takes more off. Do you actually like me enough for me to marry you? Because a lot of what I'm seeing, people get married not because they love each other, but because why not? And I don't think I need to say why that's a bad idea. What do you consider cheating? Some folks think getting a lap dances isn't cheating. Could be hanging out with a friend of the opposite sex. Could be a hug. Really good to avoid blow up arguments later though by having this defined. If anything seems obvious to you, then you definitely need to spell it out to your so it's not obvious to them. If things get financially tight, what should we remove from the budget first? How's your credit? Do you have any debts we haven't talked about? And if you don't love the answer to either of those, or really even if you do, how do you feel about a prenup? If I had any kind of significant assets, property, investments, stock, business, etc., there's no way in heck I would get married without a prenup. If you don't, you're just setting yourself up to get fricked over in the event of a divorce. People should really be honest about their sexual compatibility before marriage. The stories on our dead bedrooms are heartbreaking. If we get divorced, can I keep all my pension? Prenup. I think before getting married it's important to find out what kind of relationship you really want, and if you are truly willing to commit to that lifestyle. Too many marriages end in infidelity, which could have been completely avoided had a couple been honest from the beginning. There is absolutely nothing wrong with an open, monogamous, or whatever kind of relationship you want, so long as you establish the guidelines and are 100% honest with each other. Hiding your true feelings will destroy you both. Why do you want to be married? I'm coming up on my 1-year wedding anniversary. We got married on our 7-year anniversary from our first date, and moved in together after a few months. My advice is don't rush into marriage. Get to know each other inside and out, live together, and find out if you're both able to get through the little and big things. The important things you should ask yourself before marriage are: 1. Are you able to discuss opinions, feelings openly? 2. Can you count on your partner no matter what comes up? 3. Are you willing to put in the work when things get tough? Best advice I have read and my wife and I use is the following: if there is a problem, I wife are independent of that problem. I am not the problem even if it is in my space or seems to be created by myself wife. It is the partner's duty to point out the problem, isolate it, and extract the other to the other side of the fence so that the wife and I can face the problem together, chart a course, and stick together. In other words, any problem in the marriage is my wife and I against the problem. Even if we are the cause, we are a team and should work together against problems instead of blaming each other for it. I must say that it actually works really well. Certain things like infidelity and unforgivables don't count as problems. I'll probably get torched for this, but people change their opinions on most things as they grow. The key is to find somebody who is evolving in the same direction as you. Do you close cabinets? Can you do your own laundry? Do you clean up after yourself, or is your place so clean because you're never home to frick it up? Minor, but man rage inducing after a few years. What would you want your future to look like, even if we weren't together? I had a significant other who I loved so much and he loved me the same. I realized we had two very different futures. I didn't want to settle into a home until I was 27 so I could travel the world, and wanted to build my own house. He bought his grandma's old house when he was 20 and was ready to stay in place forever. Love is about sacrifice, but for one to change their whole future for another, that will hold resentment and darkness over the relationship. Sexual compatibility is huge in any relationship. If this is off, then hopefully it's been addressed long before marriage, but sometimes it's an elephant in the room nobody wants to discuss. If one partner is high libido or has a kink the other isn't into, and the other could take or leave sex, then it will inevitably lead to problems and should be discussed in detail before marriage. It would have probably saved mine if we had just had an honest discussion early on. Birth weight and head circumference at birth. Didn't find out my husband was a monster baby until we were married and I was in my second trimester of pregnancy. I love my baby, but having a 10 pounds 4 ounces baby was, well, less than comfortable. Not so much a question, but I highly recommend anyone wanting to marry someone to live with them for a while first. Some people have habits that you might not be able to tolerate, and some habits might not arise when you just stay the night at their house twice a week. Can back this up. I got some weird looks from older women at work when I moved in with my boyfriend earlier this year. We've been together 9 years, but oh no, you need to get married first. It just seems like a dumb backwards way to think about it. Will we be a Twizzlers or Red Beans household? How many t-shirts should a person have? You may both have extremely different answers to this. You have been visited by the wealth rat. Subscribe in 12 seconds and he will share his wealth with you. Thanks for watching. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.